Hello. This is, this is the fourth episode of the I Don't Know What I'm Doing podcast. And, I want to get one up. And I've found some things to talk about. Mostly college basketball. So I'm gonna recap a few games, that I think they all happened February 1st. So yesterday, as of when I'm recording this the 2nd, late at night of the 2nd. And, yeah, I got 3 games. First I'm gonna talk about, Xavier basketball. And then I'm going to talk about the 3 games, which are Moyne at Wagner, Fresno State at Boise State, Air Force at San Jose State. So none of these teams, Xavier's in contention to make the tournament, but I don't think they would. Last time I saw it on, if they would make the tournament, I think they're right outside, but I think they're a really interesting team if they do get in. And so I wanted to talk about them. None of these other teams are probably gonna get in the tournament unless they win their conference championship. But they were cool games. It would be fun to talk about. So Xavier. I really like Xavier. I think Xavier is like a lesser Houston or Connecticut. And like they're undersized a little bit, but they play really physical. And it makes up for their lack of size. They play really aggressive on offense, and they move the ball and move around on offense really well. And I just think if they get in the tournament, they would be a really hard team. I watched them play maybe a little more than or maybe like 25 minutes of the Connecticut game. Then I went back and watched them play Cincinnati, who I think is a really good team. And that Connecticut Xavier game, because I've watched Connecticut recently a little more. And Connecticut is, like I said, they're like a better version of Xavier with undersized. They really have good sets and motions, and they play hard and aggressive on defense. And those 2 teams, it was so physical. Probably a little fouling, a little more Xavier's way of it, grabbing and stuff a little bit, but it was such a physical game to watch. And Xavier pulled it out in a close one. And so I saw them there, and I was like, Xavier might be a team that could make some noise in the tournament. And so I went back and watched them play Cincinnati. They lost to Cincinnati, lost by 3, missed a lot of layups, a lot of dunks. But they were the same kind of team, physical, and moved around well on offense, great defense, athletic, even though they're undersized. Like I said, they missed a lot of layups. That's probably why they lost that game, but I don't know. I mean, these are a really good team. Zach Fremantle is, I guess, their center. Usually he can shoot. He's big. He's athletic. He plays aggressive, trying to dunk the ball and stuff. Plays good defense. I think on the perimeter, too. I don't think they really have a hole. Maybe number 4, John Hewley, doesn't play the perimeter that well, but he might back up, but I don't. Zach Fremantle might back up on like screens and stuff like that. but if he does, their guards make up for it by getting over the screen, getting to the player. Number 20, Davion McKnight, and number 21, Dante Maddox Jr. can really play. They only played Dante Maddox Jr. 14 minutes in the Cincinnati game. I don't know why, but they can really. They're two tough physical guards that can really play. Have a nice handle. I mean, it could be a little better, but they make up for it with their strength and aggressiveness, where they lack in handling a little bit. And 3 and 1 are basically two wings, and they play the power forward sometimes, and they're undersized for a power forward when we're talking about these elite teams like Alabama or Ole Miss or something like that. But they make up for it with their physicality. This team just plays so tough and hard, and I think, if they make their way into the tournament, it's not a team you're going to want to see. They could get one of these lower seeds, like 11 seed, and they could just rack off wins. So I really like Xavier. They lost to Michigan pretty bad. Michigan's really good. They lost to TCU, Cincinnati, who's good, UConn, who's good, Marquette, who's good. I wasn't that impressed with Georgetown when I saw them that much. And they lost to St. John's twice. I barely saw them. Lost to Creighton. So, they're losing some games. I don't know exactly where they are on the bracketology or whatever. But, I think they're the first team out in the bracketology that was released 2 days ago. So, that UConn win probably helped. So they got some key wins that they might could get in there. And, I'd really like to see it. Just lost to Creighton by 9. So, I think the Big East with UConn and Xavier, that's two really tough teams that people would have to deal with. Like, I like Marquette, but I think with what UConn and Xavier does with their physicality, with their ball movement, they don't have the talent that some of the other teams have, but they make up for it with their body movement, their ball movement, their physicality defensively and on rebounds, and some of their shooting ability. Those two teams, specifically talking about Xavier right now, would be really tough in the tournament. So I kind of hope they get in. They got Georgetown left, Villanova left. I haven't seen Villanova. They don't have a ranked team left. So we'll see. We'll see if they get in. I think right now in the Big East, I want to say it's UConn, Marquette, Creighton, and UConn, Marquette, Creighton, and Creighton's an 8 seed right now. Marquette's a 2 seed. UConn's an 8 seed too. And trying to find the other Big East team that would get in, and I can't find them. Unless, it says there's 4 St. John's. They're a 7 seed. So, I don't know, it'll be interesting. It's really, a lot of the time, I don't know, the teams I think would get in don't. So, or, they lose a bunch of games and stuff. So I remember last year, I thought Miami and USC were really talented. Both had a lot of injuries. I guess it messed up chemistry and stuff. So, we'll see about Xavier. They have some big wins though in Marquette and UConn. The South Carolina win got a lot worse after conference play. Wake Forest might start to that win might be starting to look better. But definitely the UConn and Marquette wins could be like two solid wins. And like I said, they don't play another ranked team for the rest of the year unless Creighton gets ranked or Villanova or somebody like that. But I just love watching them play. I wanted to talk about them, and hopefully, like I said, very repetitive, but hopefully they make the tournament. All right. So the Wagner Moyne game. Well, it was at Wagner, so Moyne Wagner game. It was really close for a lot of the game, and I wanted to watch Wagner. I knew they made it to the tournament last year. They were 16 seed. They won their first game, and then I think they played North Carolina the next round. So the first round, and I think they got beat pretty bad. And they're a good team. For that lower level, I think, and that's the first time I've seen them this year. I honestly don't. Off the team last year, I think number 1 Xavier Esquero was there, 3 Jaquer Sanchez was there, 12 Zaire Williams, and 32 Keontae Lewis. I didn't remember the rest of the people. Some of the other people probably were there last year. And I think Jaquer Sanchez, I think he was there last year, but he was hurt at the tournament. They only had like 6 or 7 players at the tournament. And I thought they were a good 16 seed last year. Their best player transferred to St. Bonaventure. So that was rough. That was a big loss. But I wanted to watch them because I wanted to see, I just want to see all the teams that make the tournament to kind of evaluate, see how I'm going to pick things when I post it and stuff like that. And so I wanted to see them, and like I said, with a recap of the game, it was close most of the way. I thought Wagner's guards were pretty good. They were better than their big men. Their big men were a little lacking. Zaire Williams, number 12. Jaquer Sanchez, number 3. Zay Blake, number 5, was the player of the game, definitely. And so their guards came out, did pretty strong, and it was pretty even through most of the game, with Moyne. I know number 11, Robbie Carmody, he did some good things getting to the paint. And their big guy, O'Cypher Owens, he really didn't do a lot. The stats kind of show it, 4 points, 4 rebounds, but he was a physical presence. And number zero, AJ Dantzler played 39 minutes, had 24 points, and he was probably their best ball handler behind Carmody to me. I would say Carmody handled it a little bit better, but Dantzler, they ran the offense through Dantzler. I mean, he shot 50% for the field. So Moyne didn't have a ton of ball handling. I think Wagner had better ball handling. They had a little more size than Wagner, but it stayed close. I want to say like probably till about halfway through the second half, and then the second half. Zoe Blake, I think. I just said his name, or Zay Blake. Zay Blake went crazy. He had 14 points. He might have had them all in the second half. He he hit a three. I don't even remember him playing that much in the first half, which is crazy thing. But he did great in the second half. He made a jumper to put them up 49-43, made another three-pointer after that and put them up 52-43. And then he made a three-pointer later to put him up 59-45. So, I mean, he was doing this within a short time span. Made another three later. So he really caught fire, and that's what kind of took them off. And from then on, they were up, seemed about double digits for the rest of the game. It seemed like, at least. So he was the main reason they really won. He kind of carried them that game. Like I said, I just think their guards, Zay Blake, but also their other guards, are just better at getting penetration, doing things, and their bigs did their job. And Moyne probably needs to work on their ball handling. Wagner, I think, I haven't really seen, these are probably the only two teams I've seen from the NEC conference. Wagner's 12-10. They're 12-10. They're 4-5 in the conference, so they're fifth. This is probably going to be a one-bid conference, so whoever wins the conference championship is going to go. I would think Wagner, they're right smack dab in the middle, 5 out of 9 in that conference. I think they'd have a chance to get through their conference, I would think, without looking at any of the other people. Maybe get in the first 4 games again, something like that, win a game there. But, it's going to be tough if you're going and playing a 1 seed, because they just play about 4 guards, and 1 big, and they're just too small, I think, especially this year where the SEC's got so many big teams. The Big East has some really physical teams. And, you never know, but I kind of doubt that they could go in and upset one of these 1 seeds. I don't think they're that kind of team, or 2 seed probably, honestly. I remember St. Peter's, when they did it, they were really physical. That's not really this team's. They're more skilled, and I don't think they're skilled enough to do it. I don't like a lot of these 4-guard teams, honestly, in a sense of, like, I don't know if they can really compete. Like, I think North Carolina's the best guards in the nation, but I don't think 4-point guards in a big is going to work. I don't know why they don't play a power forward. I think they'd be a lot better. Baylor does it a lot. San Jose State. And, Wagner might do it because, they're kind of limited. They might not actually have the people to actually put in a real power forward in. They might not have anybody good enough to do it, because they're a small school, and, they recruit what they got, money-wise. But, they can have a successful season. They can win their conference, and, it'd be cool to see. Okay, so the Fresno State-Boise State game. Boise State pretty much dominated this game. Boise State made the tournament last year. And I want to say they were up pretty early. I think it was like 26-12. And they didn't really look back. Yeah, so they got up 14-18. Yeah, they got up 26-12, 29-12. They didn't really look back. They pretty much had control of the game. The announcers were talking like they were really having a rough time, but, they're 15-7, 7-4 in the conference, which isn't that bad, but the Mountain West probably is a 3-team bid league this year, when I think last year it was like a 16, because I think last year New Mexico, Utah State, Colorado State, San Diego State, Boise State, and Nevada made it. So this year, I think, right now, I want to say they're just saying that New Mexico, Utah State, and San Diego State would get in at large. And maybe you'd have someone else win the conference. Maybe you get 4 teams that way. Last time I checked. But, I think the problem with Boise State, they don't have a lot of ball handling. And like I said about Xavier or Connecticut, with the way they move the ball and the way they defend, they're not that kind of defensive team. They don't have, their ball movement, and their offense isn't like a super great offense. It doesn't have a ton of ball movement, ton of body movement, where they're going to be one of these teams to compete. Because with their players' skill sets, that's kind of what you would want right now. You would want a lot of screening, a lot of back cuts, a lot of pressure, ball handling, a lot of great defense, and that's just not really them. They're a solid Mountain West team, so I guess I shouldn't get too high expectations for them. But, when talking about, like, if they get in the tournament, which they probably won't, can they do something? I don't think they have enough ball handling or enough of an offense to get people to go downhill off of curls or something like that, off of down screens and stuff back screens and stuff. They don't get enough people going to the rim to draw to kick to somebody else. But they're not a bad team. They're not a bad team. But Alvaro Cardenas is great. He was at San Jose State last year, and I think I ranked him in my top 100 NBA prospects. And I would think, without doing it yet, he'll probably make it again this year. I ranked him as my top 100 prospects going into this year. So at the beginning of the year, I did the top 100 NBA prospects. Beginning of the college year, I think. Or beginning of the NBA year, I don't remember. But I did the top 100 NBA prospects, and he made that list. And I think he'll make it again. And he looked amazing. Just the way he handles the ball, the way he can really shoot. And they don't ask him to do as much here at Boise State. San Jose State, he was coming off pick and roll, throwing a bunch of lobs. Boise State, even though I said they don't have like an elite passing offense, it is more passing than drive and kick. They let him do some stuff, but they really pass the ball around. And him and Andrew Meadow are really the only people in their starting lineup, or at least the starting lineup against Fresno State, that can really drive. So they don't ask him to do a lot, but he's great. And like I said, Andrew Meadow is probably their second best driver in their starting lineup. And to me, he's more of a power forward that can dribble some, get by people some. And that's probably, he's gotten better since last year. And he could drive some last year. But that shouldn't be your second best ball handler if you want to be a top contender, unless you have some kind of motion offense that's really, really good. So, they're tough, they're physical. They have some size. Number 22, Buchanan, is pretty good down low. Omar Stanley's pretty good. I don't know. They gave Buchanan most of the minutes. I remember Omar Stanley last year was the one that got most of the minutes as far as their big. I don't know if that's the right decision or not. I'd have to watch more. But he was pretty good last year. He did pretty good during this game. He had 10 points, 6 rebounds. But the other guy was pretty good too. Gave him a shooting threat, was a little bigger. So I don't know. I wouldn't have thought that watching them again this year, he wouldn't have started. Which I think I did watch them one other time this year, but I can't remember when. So I didn't remember much going into watching this game. I watched a replay of all 3 of these games, and they all happened yesterday, which is February 1st as of right now. I'm doing this February 2nd, like I said before. But yeah, they're a good, solid team. They just really don't have a lot of driving ability, and that's their main problem. Fresno State, they have more driving ability. They probably have less size. They could use some more size. But Alex Crawford can drive. Jalen Weaver can drive, get to the basket. I think they have some talented players. They have a terrible record. They're 5-17 and 1-10 in the conference. I don't think they're that bad. they could just probably, I don't know, maybe get a little more physical, not get pushed around quite as much. But they're big. Who I think was more sick. I thought he did a good job. So I don't know. I mean, Boise State really jumped on them, really shot the ball well. Um, but yeah, I mean, Fresno State definitely has some things that they need to fix to be a. Because I don't think that they're a 5-17, 1-10 in the conference team. I don't think they should be that bad. I honestly paid more attention to Boise State, but they have some guys who can get to the rim. They had, an offense that got a lot of drive and kick opportunities, and it seemed like people cutting in the paint the other side, and they could get it to them that way, or maybe that's just the way things worked out sometimes. But hopefully they'll get some things turned around and win some more games, by the end of this year, which they would have to win their conference to get in the tournament. But just, you don't want to, I wouldn't think you would want to go 5-20 something, especially if you shouldn't, So, and like I said, it was Boise State really had control. They were hitting shots. Cardenas really started hitting shots later in the game. He went 3 for 6 for 3, 50%. Meadow, they ran a lot of the offense through Meadow and Cardenas, and he had 20 points. He's their power forward, I guess. But they start Ugbo. They start Ugbo, number 10. And he only played 6 minutes, though. I guess he was the power forward when he was in. He was down low posting up and stuff. Or no, he was the center. He was the center when he was in. And, but he only played 6 minutes. Then they put Buchanan in. And he played most of the minutes as the center. And, Bomar Stanley played the other minutes as a center. So Ugbo came in at the very beginning of both halves. So I guess Meadow was the power forward. I forgot where I was going there. But yeah, he's the power forward. I mean, he's not bad. He shouldn't be your second best ball handler out there. They gotta, work on their ball handling and stuff. But they ran a lot of the offense through Andrew Meadow. Tyson Degenhart, that's probably not pronouncing that right, but he was good. He made some tough plays, and Carmichael made a shot. I remember they said he was a true freshman. So, we'll see if they can make some noise and maybe get through the Mountain West. But even if they do get in the NCAA tournament, I don't see them going very far. But never know. Okay. Last game I'm doing a recap of is Air Force versus San Jose State. I've watched 2 games of Air Force, one partially against Belmont, and then I watched this game. And Air Force has improved so much from last year to me. They have a good offense that gets people open and gets people downhill because they don't handle the ball well, but they have a good setup offense with a lot of ball movement, a lot of body movement, and it gets people downhill. They can shoot the ball well. And I think they defend well. They have some physical guys down low who can post up, who can rebound. Air Force last year, I saw them play Omaha because I was watching for some guy in the NBA draft. And they did not look good. So they've improved a lot. And I might have watched some other game too. They've improved so much. I think their coach is really tough on them. I watched him in the Belmont game, and it's probably partially the TV, but he looked redder than anyone I've ever seen in my life. He was so angry and yelling and stuff. So I think their coach is tough on him, which, a lot of good coaches are. And uh, you know, they're I think they're a good team. Their record is terrible though. Their record is 3-19 and 0-11 in the conference. So I'm saying some bold statements right now, but I enjoy watching Air Force play. Um, I don't. I guess they need to work on their ball handling definitely, but I think they got a good setup offense and just maybe pull out some wins. I don't know. Let me see how they're losing some of these games. Uh, they're not really getting blown out a lot. It's been worse than Mountain. Well, it got worse at Mountain West play. I don't know. I think I know they haven't done good so far, but I think some of these teams, New Mexico, Utah State, San Diego State, they could give them a run for their money if obviously they'd have to win the conference championship um to make it in the tournament, so they're probably not going to make it in the tournament. But they got New Mexico coming up twice, so that's possibly a team that could knock them off. Air Force could knock off New Mexico, so it might can mess up some things for the Mountain West, honestly, because they might could take out some teams um, that want to make the tournament. So Air Force, or I'm sorry, so San Jose State. San Jose State. I thought San Jose State because when I was gonna predict who made the tournament at the beginning of this year, and then I was gonna pick it, but I didn't get it done in time. And I was gonna have San Jose State probably make the tournament. I was planning on it. I hadn't finished it all the way through, and because I thought I was just going off, there were 6 Mountain West teams in last year. There will be 6 Mountain West teams in this year, and I thought they would be one of them, maybe like the 6th. But I think I had like Utah State, Colorado State, San Diego State, UNLV, and I want to say I had Boise State and then San Jose State. Not exactly in that order, but they had some transfers come in. They had a center from Oregon State come in, and I thought he was pretty good. The games I've watched them play Utah State, and I've watched them play Air Force, and he's the backup center now, and he's not done that well. He doesn't play as strong as the starter, I saw him and I wasn't really that impressed with him before the year. I mean, he's actually fine. He's a good physical center, and he does his job better than the backup from Oregon. So that was kind of disappointing. They got the transfer Donovan Yap from Fresno State. I mean, he does well. Transfer from Utah State, he does well. I mean, they got talented guards. They definitely do. Latrell Davis is good, but I just don't understand why they play 4 of them. I would honestly rather them play their 2 bigs before they're playing 4 guards. And I know that's how basketball's been going, but I think it's going back the other way. And I just think you're not going to be able to survive with these 4 guards out there. And I think they have enough guards definitely to play, they have enough guards to play where they could put 3 really great guards out and 2 bigs, and I think it would help them a lot, honestly. They ended up winning this game. They pulled away. It was pretty back and forth, I would say, and then towards the end, they pulled away and won. So halftime, they were up by 8. Second half, well, actually, let me see. honestly, they kind of kept that pace for most of it with 14 minutes left. They were up by 3, and then they ended up getting up by 12 before Air Force scored again. So, and that was about halfway through by that point. So, they pretty much kept the lead after that. They have good guards. They have guards that can play, and that's why I picked them to go to the tournament. I thought they would be a team, and they're big transfer too. But I thought they had a lot of good, solid players, and they do. But they're all guards, and I don't know. I feel like there is a different way they could do their rotation where they could be better. But they're playing some of these teams close. I think they played Utah State close. And maybe San Diego State, too, I think they said in the commentary. So, they're a fun team to watch. They got a lot of guys with a lot of skill. Like I said, I really like Latrell Davis's game. Adrian Hall, he plays like their power forward, but he's a really good guard, honestly. I don't know about power forward, but and like their big does a good job. Like I said, he had 7 blocks in this game, which is crazy. So, yeah, it was, I actually enjoyed watching the game. I enjoyed watching Air Force play, and I enjoyed watching San Jose State play. There are probably 2 teams that aren't going to make the tournament, but there's a lot of skill and talent on San Jose State, and Air Force has a lot of good coaching, honestly. And, I don't know. I think San Jose State, honestly, they've proven that they're a team that can knock off these teams or at least get close to them, give them a scare. They lost to San Diego State by 3. They beat New Mexico, and they lost to Utah State by 7. I saw that game. Lost to Colorado State by 22, so that's not good. And I don't know if Colorado State is really in the running for making the tournament because they have a lot of non-conference losses, but they're doing good in the conference. Dominique Clifford is a really good player. So, yeah, it was a good game. It was close for most of the way, and then, like I said, around the second half, San Jose State took off with it, and Air Force really couldn't get back. And, they don't have a ton of ball handling, like I said earlier, even though I like their offense. So they could get better at that. But there's not really, honestly, a lot of key points that I remember from the game. I do remember, I think it was the first half, someone really dunked on the center from Oregon really bad. He didn't really get up much to contest it, and then he went down, shot a floater, missed, and I think he came back on the other end, maybe not the very next possession, but not too long after that, and he caught a block out of the air, and it wasn't a great shot, but it was still pretty tough. But then right after that, someone came behind him and stole the ball. So it was a rough day for Chol Mariel. But, they got the win. He did his job. That's all that matters. So, I just wish, I don't know. I guess if you're looking for the big flaws, I guess Air Force just ball handling at San Jose State. Size, maybe switch up the rotation a little bit. But Latrell Davis is a really good player. He went 7 for 8, 18 points. He gets to the rim pretty much when he wants. He's a really, really good player. So, yeah, basically the overall, like I said, is San Jose State, just took off within the second half and really controlled the whole game. So, not really like a ton of back and forth. It was pretty straightforward. But it was a fun game to watch. So that's it. This might not have been the best recap of all these games, but I wanted to get a podcast up, trying to get better at this. Thank you for anyone that's listening. Please like and subscribe, and have a good one.